You're listening to an Anazao Ministries podcast.
All right, what's up, SG crew? Happy New Year. It is another year in the books, a new one just beginning. And, you know, we've noticed that a lot of things have been changing over the last couple of months. And I'm sure you guys have noticed too. So today I am joined by the one and only Josh I to kind of go through what exactly has Josh I is a singular thing. I challenge a English teacher to fight me. We're gonna go through kind of some of the changes that have been taking place, some of the changes that you can expect to see in the upcoming future, and kind of give a preview of what is to come in 2023. But first, let's go ahead and introduce the esteemed Josh I. Bad Opinions, you go first.
Hey guys, I'm Josh with the Bad Opinions. I got Disney's Star Wars Villainous for Christmas, and I haven't played it yet, but I've read through all the books a couple times, and I'm just getting excited reading the cards. And I'm a big geek. But I do have to just clarify something. The Josh I is singular, and much like the Flash, we share what's called the J-Force. So we're all of one mind, even the good and bad opinions.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I'm constantly sad I don't live closer to you, because I think we would play a lot of board games together, and it'd be a good time. We would. And since this is what's coming up, we're going to be at a convention together this year. So hopefully we can play some card games and board games. Yeah. All right, well, I am Josh with the Good Opinions, as I've been coined by Josh with the Bad Opinions, which means that my good opinions are a bad opinion of his. Figure that one out. Email us. I don't know. I also got a board game for Christmas that I've been loving, and it is, I've got the D&D edition of Trivial Pursuit. And nice. This is where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a mega D&D nerd, and then I can't play it, and I'm like, I have no idea what half of these questions are. They are really deep dives on either really specific lore from all the different settings, like the different 6 main settings, which I only know stuff from Toril, Faerun, however you want to designate that. And then they have some questions about like the publishing of the every edition previously. It's difficult.
Yeah,
I was surprised how many of those questions were not lore based. That were like, name the writer of this sort of section of D&D and that sort of those sorts of questions.
Or like an artist from one of the books.
Oh man,
was one of the questions. Yeah, the history section is no joke.
Man, yeah, I just love that. Like in the first minute and a half, Josh just throws out the ultimate paradox very casually and moves on. Like, yeah. Josh's worst bad opinion is that I have good opinions. Just keep going. Don't question it.
Yep. But that's the best way to do it. You just
opinion. Does that mean it's a poor bad opinion, meaning it's actually a good opinion?
And for those of you that aren't that can't see, we just watched Josh with the Bad Opinions brain explode. So since we are talking about board games, I want to, on the air openly, thank Josh with the Bad Opinions for the rare good opinion that happens to loft over. The Josh I did an episode on Munchkin. That led Josh with the good opinions to get my wife and I for Christmas Nightmare Before Christmas Munchkin edition, which is out of print. He tracked it down and got it for us. And this is probably my favorite version of Munchkin that I've played.
I think it's the best one I've played too. I mean, it cuts a little closer with the Marvel one. The Marvel one's pretty fun too, but I don't know. There's something about it. It's like the right level of everything. It's the right level of weirdness. It's the right level of hard monsters and good and not hard monsters and abilities. It's just good.
Yeah, I was surprised with the Harry Potter one. They actually had some monsters that were difficult because a lot of them they water it down the mainstream versions because they're like, oh, everybody's going to play this. They want to make it easy. Right. They just didn't bother doing that with Harry Potter. I was like, great. Yeah.
Yep. So, like I said, it is 2023, and I'm going to kick this shindig off by talking about how SG has been expanding and how we will continue to be expanding into the new year. So we started off over a year ago now as a podcast. And I remember the days where the spiciest idea that we had was going twice a week and publishing 2 episodes every week. And we were wondering whether or not that was a possibility. And over the last year, there's been some growth pains. There's been some voices that aren't apart anymore and new ones that have joined. And now we sit at this opportunity where we have some old faces, some new faces, but a growing team. And we're looking at asking the question, what else is possible? Now, don't worry. The podcast isn't going anywhere. The podcast isn't going down to a single day. We're continuing twice a week going forward. But there is going to be a group of us that are going to start exploring live streaming and YouTube. We will be instituting a YouTube channel in the near future where videos, the things that aren't necessarily episodes, but different things that we want to try will live over there in video format. The live streams will all live over there. And I will be the one that is heading up that aspect of it. You can expect Christian, who is one of our newer hosts, to be joining me a lot over there, as well as a rotating cast of characters. So you'll be able to see more from us and different kinds of content. So we'll be looking to you guys to let us know, what is it that you're looking for? What do you want to hear talked about over there in video format? And I'm going to kick it over to Josh with the Bad Opinions to talk to you guys about what's coming up on the Patreon side of things.
Yeah, so this is some of what I get most excited about, because we love all of our listeners and all of our followers and supporters and all that. And we know not everybody can be over on Patreon, but we really like to add value to what we're doing over there. And a lot of this stuff has kind of come up naturally. We're going to be doing a new Patreon episode every week on top of everything else. So it's not going to take away from the main feed or anything like that. But, we have a Versus series going on. We have Drinks with Tejas. We have one episode each month that has to do with our theme, but instead of it being origins in the lore, it's going to be kind of behind the scenes origins. Like, how did Magic the Gathering start? How did Atlas Comics become Marvel Comics? Some of that kind of stuff. And then the fourth one is, did I mention our Versus series already?
I don't think so.
Where am I? Comic Book Catch-Up. Comic Book Catch-Up's the fourth one. Yeah, so and that's going to continue to go. It's not going to just be me and Will anymore, though. You're going to see some other faces in there. We're going to be talking about some manga as well as comics over there, so that's always fun. You also get special merch and stuff that you can receive with that. If you are in the tier 3 or 5, you get an exclusive sticker from us sent to you. For those who are tier 10 and up, which I think is the wizard tier and higher, you get every 3 months, you get a new merch, whether it be a tote bag, a mug, a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt. You get something every 3 months just for being over there. And all of our patrons get 10% off everything at the store. So you get that. And you get, and this is how I'm going to throw it to Josh, you get special access to some of our Discord channels where you can talk more directly to some of our team and just kind of be a part of, we've been having a chat that all of us just kind of throw in there and talk to each other on text anyway. So we've said, hey, what if we threw it on Discord and invite our patrons to join us for being such loyal supporters? So we're doing that as well. So Josh, you want to tell them this Discord thing? We just got it started. It's on our website now. What do they need to know about that, and how can they be involved with us there?
Well, we could also probably throw the link in the show notes, right? The Discord link?
Probably. But they could also go to the website for it.
Yes. Well, anyway, so yeah, we've been setting up this Discord for a while now, and we have it set up pretty nicely. We, of course, have it public for everyone, so anyone who is an SGD supporter, you don't have to be a Patreon to get on it and get chatting with us. But for all the patrons, we do try to make it a little more richer in the background for our Patreon section. So we have a whole second section of our Discord server devoted to our patrons, where that's where we'll have most of our conversations. We'll talk about just whatever we happen to be doing. Like I know this last week, Joe and I both we're talking in the movies section because we went and saw a movie and we wanted to talk with other people. All sorts of things like that. We have different categories in it for everything from, of course, comics and anime to movies, as I mentioned, magic, everything. And it's really just an idea so that we can chat with the patrons and get a better to know with each other.
Yeah. So with that, all kinds of crazy stuff. We've just had Josh is relatively new to the show. We just added Christian Ashley. Sari is a new host on the show. I've been doing all kinds of updates to the website, so I do really want you guys to check that out so I didn't waste my time. But with all this, one of the things that we've been talking about doing for a long time are these one-shots, where once a quarter, we're going to get as much of the team together as possible and do one really long episode where we're going to cover a topic, and we're going to cover it from all kinds of angles. So this first one in March is going to be Resurrections. So some of us are going to be on there talking about different anime characters that died and came back. I'm probably going to talk about Onward, where the father came back to life at the end. There's tons of examples of this. Palpatine in Star Wars came back to life. So we're going to be talking from a bunch of different angles, these resurrection stories that we think are interesting, significant, and just kind of talk about the theme of resurrection as a whole. So that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. Josh, what are some things coming up that y'all are looking forward to?
I am looking forward to the theme for this year. I had a particularly awesome time talking about Lewis and all of that, and it's something that we're going to be keeping alive going forward, that every year is going to have a theme that will span across the main feed, the Patreon, etc., and getting a chance to talk about the origin stories of some of the things that we absolutely love. And, we're going to be talking about lore stuff on the main feed. We're going to be talking about real life origins over on the Patreon section, and getting a chance to unpack some of the mythology of some of these IPs that we love, and get a chance to talk about the circumstances that led to the creation of some of these things, because some of them are absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. when you hear what exactly led up to the creation of some of these tentpole fandoms and all of that. And I think it'll be a fun time where we can. I love talking about the reaction to some of these things. But one of my absolute loves is getting into lore and mythology and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see what kind of things come up along the way as we explore out the theme of the year.
Yeah, and one of the ones I'm most excited for is actually coming up next week, is going to be released. We're about to record it like right now. Is we're going to be talking about the origins in lore of Middle Earth, or Arda, and Narnia. And one of the reasons I find it so fascinating to talk about is because God sings in both. I'm not going to get into it right now, but it's an interesting connection there. And when you're talking about Lewis, we're just getting out of the year of Lewis, he had this doctrine of imagination, and he believed that when you use your imagination, use story, you can kind of get behind some of your logic and some of the barriers you have up to explore stuff a little bit deeper. And that's one thing that's really cool about looking at these works of fiction and origins in them, is that we don't have to get caught up in the annoying evolution creation debate. That's always what's talked about when someone talks about Genesis 1. We can just talk about the beauty of creation, how cool some of these stories are, and focus more on that end. And that's what I'm really excited for in that.
Yeah, I got to admit, that episode is shaping up to be a really good one. I'm pretty excited for it. I recently, a little bit before Rings of Power came out, got a little bit more deeper into the origins of Tolkien's world and all of the kind of Silmarillion stuff that goes on. That I still haven't read the full thing, but there's a lot to it. And since Rings of Power is taking place kind of in the middle of that, I was like, well, I better get an idea what's supposed to be going on here. And it's a doozy.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites, but I completely understand why most people have a hard time with it. It's very, and part of it's because he didn't finish it. A lot of it was published post-mortem, but it's a very almost reads like a textbook.
Yeah, the way I've always heard it described as you have to be both a Tolkien nerd and a history nerd to actively enjoy the Silmarillion. And if you lack either, it won't be very enjoyable.
Luckily, there is a good audiobook of it. So, yeah, that's nice. Glad I found that because it is hard to just sit there and read it.
So you can expect that the team is going to continue to grow as we move through 2023. You can expect to hear some new voices along the way because, we have been astonished at every time that we've asked the question, what else is possible? You guys have been there to help us figure out what that is. You guys have been there to support us. And there's been some growing pains along the way. And not every single shot has been a home run, but it's all served to continuing to see this thing grow and flourish and expand along the way. So like I said, be expecting to see more over on the YouTube side, be expecting to see a Twitch channel coming soon, new voices, exciting stuff. And we ask you guys to, rock with us along the way and let us know what you want to see and what we need to hear from you guys about what's working and what's not working along the way. And that's what we hope to be able to, those lines of communication are exactly what we're hoping to open up through the Patreon. The group is going to continue, and we'll be doubling down on things like polls and engaging where you guys are as we continue to set forth with everything. So before we wrap it up, do you guys have anything else?
No, I just want to reemphasize, tell us what things you liked. We never know. We can't read minds. We can't read, especially, the minds of listeners we've never met. So it's really helpful when we know what you guys want more of when we make stuff. I mean, just looking at the most re-listened and most downloaded statistics for this last year was that. Not what I would have expected. A lot of that was kind of surprising. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's good to know.
Yeah, which also reminds me of something we didn't announce that came directly from some of the response we got from our audience and from ourselves, to be honest. We loved doing the SG Drive-In last summer. So we brought it back for Halloween and we brought it back for Christmas. And it just keeps getting great responses. So this year we're going to be doing 4 of them. We're going to do the same as last year, summer, Halloween, Christmas. But we're also, and this isn't quite Drive-In, but we're going to be doing an HBO series starting, I think, beginning of next month. Might be the end of this month. Don't hold me to either. But we are looking forward to that, talking about some of our favorite shows over there. We're going to be looking at Titans. We're going to be looking at Game of Thrones. We're going to be looking at Peacemaker. Is it Watchmen? Is Watchmen on the list? I think it is. I'm going to say it is. So I'm excited for that too.
All right. So with that, here's to another awesome year with the SG community. We love you guys. Remember one very important thing. We are all a chosen people, a geekdom of priests.
This was an Anazao Ministries podcast. If you enjoyed this show and would like to learn more about our network, be sure to check out the Anazao Ministries Podcast Network.